now. Alright, this is going to let me go live. This is going to let me go live. Whoa. Why is Instagram not working? Okay, and this one's live. Okay, so it's just Insta. That's giving me trouble. Okay, let me look at my settings over here. Facebook is good. Instagram looks to be connected. Okay, guys, sorry. Okay, now we're good. All right, sorry about that, guys. My streaming software crashed at 3:59. Then I tried to restart it and it crashed a couple more times. So I'm gonna keep this short and sweet, so hopefully it won't crash again. I have my celebration ears on because it is Mother's Day this weekend. I know not everybody is a mom, not everybody has a mom, but for those of us who do all the mom things, whether we're technically mom or not, and that includes aunts and neighbors and grandmas and best friends and the dads who are filling in for mom because maybe mom's deployed overseas or maybe for whatever reason mom is not here, in the same place as the kids. Shout out to all those people, including the bonus moms. I love bonus mom and bonus child instead of stepmom and stepkids. It has a much more positive connotation. I was a stepkid, so I feel comfortable saying, even though it wasn't a big deal. I like bonus mom and bonus dad, bonus sister, bonus brother, whatever. I like bonus better. I think it has a much more happy tone to it. All right, so let's talk travel. Let me just take my soapbox here and put it away. Okay. Um, Disneyland starts celebrating the 70th on the 16th, so they're just about a week away. If you want to get in on that, there's still plenty of time to book a trip in 2025 or 2026. Um, Walt Disney World packages through October of 2026 are bookable. The cruise lines all have deals. Virgin still has 75% off your second sailor. Viking has a wide variety of cruises. Celebrity has stuff. Disney Cruise Line has stuff. But I know cruising is like everybody has their favorite cruise line they really like. So let me know what your preferred cruise line is, and we'll see what kind of deals they have. I don't want to sit here for a half hour and read you every deal. Nobody needs to hear me do that. Um, that said, there are lots of deals out there. One of the common questions I get is how far out should I book my trip? And that totally sort of depends on, I would say book it as soon as you can because availability does affect prices, and as things go, um, as they fill up and they are less and less available, prices do tend to go up. But that said, a lot of, especially the families with kiddos, you can't plan 6 months out necessarily because you don't have the schedule for fall soccer yet, or you don't have all the summer, they haven't confirmed dates for summer camp and that kind of stuff. So book as soon as you can. It's also not a bad idea to reach out and get a quote for the time you're looking at before you actually book it, even if you're still waiting on a couple of things you're not quite ready to book yet. That'll give you a chance to look over everything, take your time, think of other questions. A good travel agent is always going to be available to answer those questions. Um, but it's not always a one and done deal. Some trips you need quotes. Sometimes there are extended family members you're trying to include. Maybe you're going with your sister's family or your brother's family, or grandma wants to take all seven of the grandkids. So sometimes there's a lot of moving parts that have to fall into place before you can actually book things. But it's always good to get a quote ahead of time. It's always good to be informed. And then just book as quick as you can. The timing, if you want a 3 bedroom villa at the Polynesian, you probably want to book the day that date becomes available because there aren't many of those. But if you really just want to go and have a good time and you're not, you're open to staying, somewhere nice, but it doesn't have to be a certain place, then you have some more flexibility and you can just do it when it's good for you. Um, I also wanted to give you a couple tips because, hot weather is coming. And when you get a hot, tired, exhausted child, when whether you're touring a new city, whether you're doing a day trip, whether you're doing, a trip like a Disney destination, another theme park, you're doing Universal, you're doing Legoland, whatever. Here are some things I used as a parent when my son got tired and worn out and overheated. Um, and why does my nose always itch during my lives? I don't know, but it does. Um, if the park you're at has some kind of ride system, a monorail that goes around it. For example, Dutch Wonderland in PA has a monorail. Disneyland and Disney World have monorails. Well, actually, Disneyland and Magic Kingdom have monorails. Let me correct that. Hop on. If you're in Magic Kingdom, do the resort loop once or twice. It's air conditioned. It's usually in the middle of the day, cool and quiet. It's not going to be very helpful at park opening, park closing, but we did it often during the day. Even as adults, we did it because we wanted to tour the resorts, and it gave us a chance to just kind of rest our legs a little more and reset a little bit. We grabbed lunch when we did it. It was just kind of a nice break. And then when we went back into Magic Kingdom, we were a little more energized and a little more chilled and kind of ready to jump back into things. If you can't, you don't want to do the monorail, you don't want to do the boat, you could always also take the boat around for a bit. Um, if that doesn't work, if you're in Disney World, look for a cool show. Do the Monsters Inc. laugh floor. If you're in Hollywood Studios, I can say this for a little bit longer, Muppet Vision. Um, the Pixar Shorts, if the Pixar Shorts Film Festival thing is running, you can do that. Mickey's PhilharMagic, or PhilharMagic, I'm never sure how to pronounce that correctly. Um, Duck into a store. If you're in Magic Kingdom or Hollywood Studios, go in the Emporium. Go in the shops on Main Street where they all connect together, or not Main Street, Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood, where they all kind of connect. It's air conditioned, it's cool. Um, you don't have to buy anything, you can just look. You might even be able to find an empty chair in a quiet corner. You can do the same thing if you're in Disney Springs. Go into World of Disney and just try to find a quiet spot um, and chill out for a bit. Enchanted Tiki Room is another good one. Um, if you think overheating is really part of the problem, go to the quick service and get a free cup of ice water. The quick service restaurants will give you free cups of ice water if you ask. So go get a cup of ice water, try to find a bench or somewhere a little quiet, a little out of the way. Enjoy your ice water, see if your little person bounces back. Try the nice quiet ride. The land ride is another good one. If you're in Epcot, do Living with the Land. Um, you could do Turtle Talk with Crush. You could do the Nemo ride. Just one of those, like, doesn't have a long wait, is indoors, will cool you off, and is kind of a quiet, you probably don't want to do a roller coaster, but just a quiet, calmer ride. A couple of those. Or go in the play area. There's the play area by Nemo where you can stick your face out of Bruce the shark's mouth and you can look at the fish tanks from Living with the Land. The big aquariums are there. Um, Even those kind of things. It's indoors, it's quiet, it's your own pace, and it might be just enough to kind of give your little person a second wind. Because, it gets to all of us. None of us like to be hot. None of us like to be tired. None of us like to be thirsty. But we do like to go to Disney and have fun, so you kind of have to manage the two. When we did a day trip to Hershey when my son was little, and we didn't do the theme park because I think it was off season. Either the theme park wasn't open or there was something going on. So we did some other stuff. We did the Hershey Chocolate Museum. We rode the trolley. He was tired. Um, and we rode the trolley around, and it's really cool. It takes you around Hershey, and it tells you some of the history. And there are different people from the history of Hershey who will get on and off the trolley and talk to you. It's really neat. I really wanted to do it. I was excited to do it. I think the rest of my family just kind of went, well, she wants to do it, so we'll come along. But we all enjoyed it. My son was tired. He curled up in my mother-in-law's lap and took a nap, and that was okay. He was, 4. I don't think he would have gotten much out of it anyway, but it gave him a nice nap. It was air conditioned. It cooled us all off. It gave us, a different kind of entertainment than we'd been looking for and kind of experiencing for the rest of the day. So that's something else you can. City. Look for a hotel that has a coffee shop or a snack bar or somewhere you can come in and just maybe sit for a little bit, get a drink, maybe, share some kind of snack to kind of, balance out your blood sugar a little bit, give you a chance to cool off, rest your feet. Hotels, stores. Um, I'm trying to think where we were. Um, when we were in the Science Center in Boston, which is also awesome. They had like big, huge hallways between the exhibits with benches, and we just found a quiet spot. We were like, we're just going to sit here for like 15, 20 minutes and give you a chance to recharge. And he did, and it was cool. But there's usually something around if you think about it a little bit. But yeah, if it's heat, especially if you're in a theme park, usually they'll give you ice water out of not the bottled water, but vending options like the soda machines and stuff have a water option. If you're in the Disney parks, they also have bottle filling stations and water fountains in most of the rides. And if you're in Disney, you're in a theme park, you're at a venue, ask a staff member. Hey, my toddler's kind of melting down. Is there somewhere quiet I can sneak off for about 10 minutes so they can reset? Most of the time there are spots, and the staff probably knows where the good quiet spots are. So don't be afraid to ask. And I'm sure they would rather help you find a quiet spot than they would watch your toddler have a meltdown. Um, Nobody wants a toddler to have a meltdown, really. So most people will be more than helpful. I mean, I'm not going to say everybody is, because occasionally you're going to get somebody that just honestly doesn't know, or just doesn't is afraid to tell you because they think they might get in trouble or whatever. But most places are going to have suggestions. You can also, if there was something they did earlier in the day that's not too far away, maybe you can go back there and give them a chance to do that again. If there was a different, maybe you're in the science center and there was a different activity they did earlier that they really liked. Maybe you can say, okay, well, let's take a deep breath and we're going to turn around and we're going to go back to the water room. And then there's usually something you can do. But transportation is always good. A boat ride, the monorail. Hershey Park, I know, has a train that rides around a little village, I think. So, that kind of stuff that doesn't have a long line, that's not high stimulation is usually, and if it's not really crowded, they might even let you stay on. Like when the train pulls back in the station, just ask the conductor, hey, can we ride again? They can't always do it, especially not if there are a lot of people waiting, but sometimes if there's not a big crowd, a big line, they might let you do it. So, never hurts to ask. Some other stuff you can take in the parks to help you feel cool. Cooling towels make a world of difference. Fans, either neck fans for the adults. If you have littles and strollers, you can get stroller fans. Um, there was something else I was thinking of and it left my brain. And when you're adding your cooling items, make sure you reapply your sunscreen because nobody wants to be hot anyway and then sunburned on top of it. Trust me, trust me. I go from looking, now I kind of look like Olaf. I'm very white and pasty. Um, I would be the color of Sebastian in about a half hour to 45 minutes if I didn't wear sunscreen. So, and I've gotten burned. I got burned in Colorado. I was laying out by the pool while my husband was at a conference, and the first speaker to kick the conference off talked about the importance of sunscreen in Colorado because the air is thinner and you burn quicker. And I literally burned to the point where I could only wear um, what I'd been by the pool. And luckily, I was in a t-shirt and shorts and not a swimsuit. And I felt really bad because he had this like reception dinner that night, or like this mixer thing, and I packed this really cute little outfit to wear, and nope, nope. I spent like the whole trip in the same outfit because it was literally the only thing I could wear. So don't be me. Don't do that. Stay hydrated. Wear your sunscreen, and look for cool, quiet spots wherever you are, whether it be a hotel snack shop, wherever. But they're usually out there if you can find them, and usually employers are more than happy to point you in the right direction or make a suggestion. So, all right, that's my 2 cents. I'm going to log off before my system crashes again. And I will see you all next week. Once again, happy Mother's Day to all the moms, bonus moms, and people who are helping out for mom because she can't be there herself. Everybody have a great week. Stay safe, and I will see you next Friday at 4. Bye.